So, there are those of you who looked at the title of this video and thought, oh, here we go again. Here's a conservative guy who probably doesn't know much about the subject of THC, and he's going to talk crap about it. Well, that's not necessarily the case. However, I do want us to think about some things real quick. So, a little history of me. I had an injury, and I was prescribed painkillers, opiates. From that, for about 6 months, I developed an addiction to it. And after that, I was put on methadone, which is even stronger. That brought me into the world of what addiction could be. Now, let me say this. When it comes to THC, weed, pot, dabs, all of that stuff, there is a history that we have with it. So, at first, it was one of those things that we all know what happened in the early 20th century. It was banned because some people in the timber industry wanted to actually, wanted to ban it, wanted to ban weed and all of that, despite it helping some people out, right? They wanted to ban it because, not cannabis, not THC, but the actual rope from it was actually beneficial and posed to, put a dent into the timber industry. And those who wanted to use THC from then on was always suspicious of the government. That the government was angry and they wanted to keep something from us. There's the man trying to keep us down. And that's what happened. Everybody had a healthy dose, especially in the 60s and 70s, had a healthy dose of not trusting our government. And they hated it because they couldn't tax it. Now, I'm in Oregon State. I was in Washington. Colorado was one of the first ones to legalize marijuana and THC. And they did so by taxing it. Now, I think we can have a more civilized discussion about it because so many people were so defensive about weed. It's because they didn't want to stop. They enjoyed it. It helped them. It minimized anxiety. May have even helped with medical conditions. We know that it helps with glaucoma. So, this is me coming as an EMT. Someone in the medical field. I have friends that use THC. I myself have tried it once when I was a lot younger. I have tried edibles in the past, but THC was never my bag. So I just want us to have an honest conversation about it, and you can talk about it in the comments below. But let me ask you this. Now that it's legal, and now that even other drugs are being decriminalized, can we have an honest discussion about it? I have somebody who's very close to me, who has been smoking since they were in their early teens, let's say. And as long as I've known them, they've been really lethargic. They've had a lot of medical problems, fibromyalgia, and they've had mood swings. But the biggest thing was they're always tired. Always. And somewhat overweight. Now, this person has been wanting to get off of it for a long time. Now, we may say that THC is physically or mentally addicting. There's still a bunch of tests being ran on it, but it's addicting in some way. Let's just say that. And when this person tried to get off, they wanted me to help them titrate. And when I tried to help them do this, what happened was I would control it, and then it would be 3 times a day. And then we'd try to do 2. And then I would forget, and they say, oh, I'm supposed to have it one more time, and they would get it, and they would go right back to the normal behavior. We tried this for about 6 months, and it always failed. So it's now been a week since they've been cold turkey. Their choice. And they said, no, I'm not doing it anymore. Not buying it anymore. I'm done. It's been a week, and this person has more energy. Now, I will say that sleep is a little bit hard to come by right now. But they are up and around the house. They are super motivated. When I go to the park, this person hardly ever wants to walk. Now, they want to walk. They want to, and already dropping weight fast. This is because the appetite has decreased. Now, this doesn't mean that they're not eating. They're just eating a smaller amount. The headaches are gone, and the fibro isn't impacting them as much. So, this is anecdotal evidence. This is not scientific. This is just one person. But I think we as human beings, what we do is when we have a skepticism of something like the government and the government taking things away, we suddenly are on the defense of it. I'm now seeing people who used to consume THC. Now they're complaining about it. Now that it's not this mysterious, elusive thing that the government is trying to... No, now the government is trying to make money off of it and wants you to buy it. The government doesn't care really what you do as long as they make money. That's all there is. So, I think we need to start looking at THC and all narcotics and drugs and things like that as kind of in a vacuum. We need to think about it. What if government didn't exist? And what if we had access to these things? Usually what would happen is we would try these things, and it would either help us or not, and if we didn't like it, whatever. However, with THC, it seems like a lot of people are saying, oh no, don't you say that, don't you tell me that there is withdrawal symptoms, because there's not. It's the perfect drug, blah, 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 whatever. I don't think that that's the case. I know some of you also probably watched the Steven Crowder versus Joe Rogan thing, and Joe Rogan defends THC all the time. But if we want to become scientific about things, if we want to actually look at evidence, then we should actually look at evidence. We shouldn't have this idea of... A lot of people have extreme biases when it comes to THC because they're so defensive, and they walk into a thing like, okay, well, this, I don't know. No, let's take all the evidence and say, okay, well, this doesn't necessarily disprove it, but this doesn't prove it either. We need to look at things as if, and I get it, we have motivations. If we ourselves are consuming a product and we want that product to remain legal, available, and low price, we're probably going to defend it and make sure. I know I did it when I was with methadone. Right now, there are people who are taking methadone who hate when I disparage and talk about how high it makes you. There was one guy in the comments who was arguing with me about methadone and told me when we got down to the end of the argument, he was like, well, just stop talking about it, because you're messing with my life, and you're messing with all things, because it's helping me and all of this. What it is methadone is very hard to quit. I mean, if you've watched any of my videos, you would see that it took me 3 months to get off methadone, and it was literal hell. If I didn't have kratom, I would be, it would have sucked. There are people out there who still want to enjoy a substance, and if you talk bad about it, they think that you are somehow single-handedly going to take down the whole industry, or you're contributing to the degradation of that industry. That's not the case. We need to be real with ourselves, and we need to evaluate our situation. Now that marijuana, THC, and all of that is legal, we need to start looking at it and see, is it really helping us? This isn't from a religious perspective. This is for everybody, because a lot of people who consume medications, narcotics, and all of that, they're not either religious or unreligious. This isn't a religious discussion. This is about the topic at hand. So that's what I want you to do in the comments. Tell me your honest opinion about it. Have you had negative effects from THC? Have you had withdrawals from it? What do you think about it? And do you think that it's actually a good thing that it's legal? I tend to think that it's a good thing that it's legal, because now it doesn't have this mysterious appeal, and a lot of people aren't gravitating towards it to try and be a rebel. You're not a rebel now if you're going for THC. Actually, a lot of people use it and consume it. So you're actually kind of with the crowd now. Hopefully, maybe that will make people not want to use it, because they're not the outcasts anymore. Anyways, this video is getting long. Let me know up in the comments what you think about it.